Hey, welcome everybody to a gathering of eagles podcast for tonight. Supported and brought to you by Sanctuaries of the Earth Mother, the nonprofit I'm part of, and Don, who's here tonight, is also part of. Yeah, we're going to have, not quite sure where this is going to go tonight. Let's do an opening prayer first, and then, if I may, I'll take a couple of minutes to set up what was coming to me, what came to me, why I thought we could talk about this, and then at that point I release it and we go wherever it goes. Is that okay with everyone? Cool. Okay. Who would like to open with a prayer tonight? Anybody? Is that you, Chantel? Or is that just a thumbs up? Okay.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. I was upstairs. I had to come down and grab my tobacco and stuff. Hold up.
Okay.
There's your blankie.
While we're waiting, I would sing, but that would scare everybody off.
All right. Buju ani manidu dag minowa niji bimadazig. Manominakwe nindijne kaz jaganashimang chantel. Awazase nindu dame. Go ahead, Bob. I'll be right back. Sorry. Manominakwe nindijne kaz jaganashimang chantel. Awazase nindu dame obashi nindu jaba. Gichi manidu minawa ingiu manidu wabanang jawanang ningabianang minawa giwedinang. Manidu oma akin mama aki minawa de gijik. Manidu ishpaming minawa manidu nibakang. Daga oda piniwa au asema. Jawenim ganawenim wadakal minawa janawe mishinam. Niji bimadazi wadakal wishin. G mino ganawa ba magwa, G mino ganunagwa, minowa, mino dunawagwa, Niji bimadizi. G nande gakandaman, Ojibwemoan minowa, Anishinaabe Ijatwawin. Chimigwich gichimanidu, Chimigwich manidu ga ganawainaminamnukwa, Chimigwich nungam ga gijagak, Chimigwich ga mijayang minobamadiziwin. Chimigwichka gena gego ijachigayek. Chimigwichka gena gego ga ijatuyek. Daga ja wena mishinam ayawayang niji bimadizig. Ningi mino ningi minajidawin. Nin awin minajidawin. Gija wenamin. Okay, so I'm calling upon the Great Spirit and all spirits and my fellow living beings, those spirits in the east, in the south, in the west, and in the north, spirits here on earth, and Mother Earth and Father Sky, spirits above, and spirits of the waters. Please accept this tobacco to love them, have compassion for them, take care of them, and help them. Love us, my fellow living beings. Help me to look upon them all, to speak to them all, and to treat them all. Help me to learn Ojibwe and the Anishinaabe culture. Thank you, Great Spirit, and the spirits who take care of us. Thank you for today. Thank you for giving us the good life. Thank you for everything you do, and thank you for everything you create. I respect you, and together we respect each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Chantel. Perfect, actually. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't turn my mic on. Thanks, Melissa. So Melissa's here. So we we three co-hosts or whatever we are, co-host. I don't know how you put that. Are here now. Jerry will be here in a bit. We hope, if the storm hasn't hit him, because I think it might be a good night to have a couple of stories put in. So let's see where this goes. We can spend a little bit of time in the beginning too, working the animal things in, and there's a few updates on several of the, oh good, here's Mel, several of the animal-related issues, and then we can start shifting a bit, because this is all part of what came to me, I think, in these dreams. You know, I've been working a lot on the animal issues, and some of you have been working with me on that. Because it's part of the whole. Been working with some other countries. That's part of the whole. Everything going on right now, they're not individual pieces. I'm finally realizing how much they fit together as part of the whole structure. We can't heal and advance as humans if we abuse the animals or the young people or any part of the planet on the other. Or the trees, which we can talk about later too. The trees, nature, the rocks, the parks, all those things we have. We need to do it as one, and I think we need to do it globally now. And so I got back from Canyon de Chelly. I don't know when I got back. I think Saturday or Sunday. While we were up there, it was powerful. Really powerful. I was with a friend, and she works with frequencies and sounds. So our abilities meshed quite well. And uncovered up in Canyon de Chelly, Massacre Point, which I did not know existed. Canyon de Chelly is this huge sacred canyon in Navajo land. And you can drive up either side. And so if there's lookout point on this side, there's lookout point on the other side. The only one not mirrored is this Massacre Point. And as I dug into it, turns out there was a huge massacre there. 300 and some women, children, elders, old ones were killed. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they did not mirror that on the main side, the other side. So we did a lot of cleansing around that, the two of us that were up there. But that night was when I was really deep in sleep. And I was having assorted dreams come to me. And yeah, more dreams than anything. And I just heard, came out of my heart, I think. It's time for us to take our world back. And I'm like, wow. And I knew it was the mother. And shortly after that, I woke up. And I laid there for a while to see what else would come. Nothing else came at that point. It's time for us to take the earth back. Well, yeah. And we can get into that later. Who is the us? But I was thinking about, all of we creatures on the earth, not just humans. As some of us have been taught for a long time, the Takriyase is not just humans, it's all the species. And so I was playing with that for a day. I talked to a couple people that I had connections with during the day. And then the next night, it came again. This time it was even louder, and there was a lot of colors, swirling colors. A lot of green and blue, which to me usually means the mother's talking to me, because that's the color of Father Sky and Mother Earth. And it is time for us to take the earth back. And I realized the difference there was she was including herself. We, humans, and all the other creatures, but also her. And as I sat with that, I connected up with a couple elders in different parts of the globe the next day. And we were feeling something similar. One, that it needs to be global, whatever we do. Two, that none of the institutions, people, organizations currently operational were going to do it. The us was all of us. Not the political parties, not the religious parties, none of that. but for the people now to do it. And so what would that look like? And hopefully we'll talk about that some tonight. I have my own ideas, but I must say they're a bit scattered. Yeah, and do I lead him with that? I don't know. So, yeah, I'm thinking, as many of us have, most of the systems on the planet now are broken, already collapsed. They're just, whoops. Huh, here we go. No, that's all right. That's funny. I didn't think Chris was going to make it because he's having some health issues. Somehow a recording of Chris just popped up. So, he's with us. Thank you, Chris, wherever you are. So yeah, that's kind of the background. So then I said, all right, we need to dig into this. We need to talk about this. Here comes Jerry. Some of the efforts that a bunch of us are involved with, there's a lot of motion, progress in many. The animal cruelty one are definitely, we're making big strides rapidly. They're now, San Francisco is stepping up now with a lot of people showing up for protests. So it's spreading rapidly. And that's what we need, I think. We need things to spread around the globe, like they did with Standing Rock, but even much stronger. Standing Rock on steroids is what some of us were saying a while back. So maybe I just throw it out there for now. What is the mother saying about taking it back? Let's throw some thoughts out there and see where they go. Melissa, was that your, I'm ready to speak? Okay.
Yes, of course. Good evening, everybody. Chantel, thank you for that beautiful opening. So beautiful. So let's continue with the frequency that you opened up with. And I'm going to let's hit those forks. But what we can do is just send a beautiful, loving intention to all those souls that you just spoke about. Many times we're led to places. I shared when I was drumming, the last time I was upstate drumming, it was inside a church, and it was on burial, on bodies, women and children, also Native. So that's what we do. We travel and we use frequency, and frequency kind of opens up those portals, and it allows for those souls that may have left this earth in a traumatic way, that might have gotten a little stuck or lodged, for them to return home. And that's what it's about. Here's some rose quartz. Do you see anything that may be stuck to you that needs to just go and send to the light for the highest value? And we can equally do so and send it to Mother Gaia for composting. 13 for the 13 moons. So thank you. So many topics. I love how this is evolving. I love how Creator is just showing, and the Mother is just ever so present. This morning, I woke up with clear messages to stop and smell the roses. That is what the Mother is saying. Stop and smell the roses. And then this morning, in Circle, many of us attend a Circle every morning. The message was hope. And then just before we began, I pulled one of the oracle cards, the Native Oracle deck, and the message is hope again. So it just continues. from 8 this morning till 8 tonight, 12 hours, wishing and hoping. You can't wake a person who is pretending to be asleep. Navajo. And so, of course, as y'all know, talking about nature and learning to read nature as scripture was a thought that I woke to. I woke this morning and I read a lecture most of the time, a Steiner lecture, but I also listen to a native social worker speak, and I'll share that. So that was interesting, and I passed that around. But tonight, when I got dressed, I was wearing white, and they're like, nope. And I just saw this bright blue shirt. And then I look at you, Jim, you're the green, and I'm the blue. And I think somebody else had a blue shirt on that I saw a second ago, and they hid away. But these themes of the ocean and the sky and the earth. So before there was, so Steiner talks a lot about this anthroposophia, and that's what the next version on our planet is everything is about the mother. The mother is here. So before there was ego, life was communal, like the ocean, earth and soul consciousness. With the serpent, I was also guided to put my serpent bangle on. I don't think I've worn it yet. I was guided for that. And I was like, oh, I got to talk about that. So this is the spine. And I've talked about this when I've read from the Magdalene manuscript, when I've done that mother invocation. Maybe we'll do that later on again. Consciousness begins to separate and say I. This is what we see with 3-year-olds. They suddenly refer to themselves as not, separate from themselves. We see this again at 9. So different stages of child development when they lose that childlike wonder. So it's like that 9-year-old change I used to teach to the parents and the third graders and 9-10-year-olds, where they're just, it's a fall from grace. And that's what we experience over and over again. But we always return to the mother, right? So through our development, the human being learns to consciously reconnect the micro to the macro. We're constantly seeing how we're connected, not by losing that I, but by spiritualizing it. So that's what we learn about being fully human and fully divine and walking this path. And what does that look like? To live in ceremony, we so often talk about. But what does it truly mean? So Moses lifts up the serpent, not as idolatry, but as a mystery image of the force that can either bind humanity to a lower ego or be raised into healing wisdom. So when I talk about the I am awakening inside the body of the earth, the serpent is the spiritual and the spiral and the spinal fire. So here's that fire. The earth is the great organism. The human being is the place where the earth begins to know herself consciously. And this is what we learned, this is outside the Oracle of Delphi, know thyself. And as a clinical social worker, that's what I do. I help people discover their own innate abilities, right? And that's just holding space. And that's what we're doing in these circles. So alongside all the work that we're doing, the humanitarian work that we do, it's understanding why it's so important and taking care of ourselves, because in taking care of ourselves, we take care of the earth by taking care of the animals. It's just all related. So slowing down is where we can really understand how to be that small, that microcosm, and how small we really are. And when we look at that, the mountains, the rivers, the sea, the plants, the animals, the stars, nothing's accidental. Everything is perfectly orchestrated. So these are ways that we can reveal the mother in everything. The world is fashioned from the body of a cosmic being. The world becomes recognizable as a spirit expanded human being, and everything else gets negotiated as a condensed universe, and we're all one. So those are some thoughts that I was toying with this morning, pulling from that lecture. So thank you for letting me share.
Thanks, Melissa. Great start in. So, excuse me, sorry. I'll be glad when the trees are done with the pollen. I'll move to the phones and then up to Brother Jerry. So another half dozen people have showed up on the res because they heard we were going to talk about this tonight. So Tom is getting ideas from everyone. So from the collective group, not just the youth corps, we are seeing, I'll paraphrase, it's long. They're seeing that this has to be a collective effort with the mother to do what the mother is telling us to do. Politics is corrupt. Religion is corrupt. Financial things are almost already crashed down. What do we do to take it back? And I've had other discussions similar to that. Thanks, Tom. Keep sending more. Yeah, we have, and I'll talk more, and most of us will, about this country because it's where we are. But this, again, is global. This is happening all over the place. And I'm glad Robbie's here as a backstop on that. And this is not about politics. This is not about I'm a liberal or a conservative, I'm a Republican or a Democrat, I'm white, red, black, or yellow, I'm male or female, I'm old or young. Not at all. This is about humanity. And this is about empathy. And that's what the grandmothers were putting in here. Grandmother Val was saying that the grandmothers want us to emphasize that this is us, people, just people, and all the other creatures. Whoops. But not about our separate differences. More about our similarities. Okay. And they're saying we have to stand up. Any who are still in the systems, who have some integrity, can help us through this time. But then even those systems have to be redone, rewoven, like you've said before. Yeah, okay. So there's those two groups. You all can mull on that while we bring in Brother Jerry.
Hi, everyone. Good to be in. How about now? Do something.
A lot of breakup.
All right. Let me know if it clears up as I'm talking.
That's a lot better.
Okay.
Is everyone? Yeah. Okay. Some more thumbs up.
Okay. Everybody hear me still? All right. Good. So, first of all, hello. Glad to be here in the circle with all of you. I'll be watching you. I can see you, Jim. So give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Thumbs down if it starts getting lower. Okay. So, Jim and I had a little bit of talk about this a little bit earlier today, and I sat with it, and several things came to me as I listened. So I'm going to tell something that seems kind of unrelated, but it's not. I was talking several years ago, actually, about the solar flares and the huge solar flares and the effect it was having on the Earth. And I wrote to one of my elders at Hopi because he'd alluded to that this had happened before, but there was instructions if it were to happen again, what we were to do. So I asked him to go into more about that dialogue about what we were to do and what specific things we were to do. The first thing he brought up was an old Hopi teaching that our conduct is reflected through space and time. It echoes what Melissa said. It echoes what the grandmother said. So in the case of the sun, in the Hopi way, the father of all ceremony, was out of balance. Based on that teaching, our conduct is reflected through space and time. It reflected that the male energy upon earth was out of balance. The sun was just reflecting that to help us learn. Our mother and her children are under attack. The grandmothers had it right. What's missing is empathy. What are we to do? Melissa hit upon it exactly. So the first thing that my elder told me we needed to do, he said, things are out of balance. Kayanis kachi, world out of balance. So our world is out of balance, and our conduct is reflected through space and time. We are out of balance. The mother and nature is just reflecting that to give us an opportunity to see what our actions and inactions have done. So first and foremost, he said, there is no specific instructions. We must return to the original instructions. In this case, what does that mean? It means caring for and taking care of ourselves and getting ourselves in balance, but then also caring for all of our relatives and our mother. This parts of the Hopi prophecies to ask about these times, ask about, say that we need to pay attention. Where is our water? Do we know where our water is? Do we know where our food is? I talked about this in a previous podcast recently. It means we must take care of those things. The water, our food. And in that way, we're taking care of and establishing and reestablishing and strengthening that bond with Mother Earth and with her children. In that way, we return ourselves back into balance, because that balance of getting ourselves in balance with our spirit and creating that sacred relationship first within self and then working outward. Now, does that mean that I'm saying that we shouldn't stand up? No. I'm saying that we should take the cue of those young ones that came back from Peshla recently. They did so with love in their heart. They did so with a ceremonial fire being lit. They did so with prayer. They did so in a good way. What we must remember is not to look at those who seem to be opposing the very things we're talking about here. The lack of care of the mother, the lack of care of her children. The minute we start getting into a battle against those and focusing on those who seem not to be caring about such things, we are walking deeper into separation. We're fighting fire with fire. All we're doing is making that fire greater and hotter to burn and destroy more. So each of us have to do what we feel is right to bring ourselves in balance and to show that we're walking that path by our actions. We are standing up. But how do we stand up? We stand up by talking. Maybe one of the things we can do besides protesting is we can go to these colleges, we can go to universities, and we can begin talking about what will be lost when the mother's wounded. And if the mother were gone, she's not going to be gone, but if she were, and if her children, the animals, are gone, what would we lose? What would we lose? What would our children and 7 generations from now lose? Would there even be a 7th generation of humans? The earth will survive and she'll heal. Where will we be? So talk about the things, talk about the beauty, and talk about the things that may be lost, and talk about the things, how that will affect us. If that beauty is lost, it's a reflection of what's lost inside of us. What do we give away by not caring for all life around us? What do we lose? What do we all lose together? But also, sometimes you have to talk more about what we gain together. Talk about the regenerative ways of farming, the regenerative ways of helping the earth. Talk about the solutions rather than the problem. Focus on the solutions. First, once again, focusing on getting ourselves in balance and fostering and nurturing that relationship with the mother and the children ourselves. Because we can't, change doesn't happen with one grand gesture. If others see what we're doing, that will have an impact. Those young kids, those youth, some of those who may be here right now on this podcast, took a stand at Peshla recently, but they did so with prayer. They did so in a good way. They did so out of love. They didn't do so with hatred in their heart, I would hope, not for those that were trying to come in there. They did so with that sacred fire being lit and kept burning. I might say more on this, but I'll put the stick in the middle for now.
Thanks, Jerry. It's good. There's a lot going on here on the phones as you're doing that, of course. Yeah, I guess first of all, I've got Grandfather John has been talking and was responding to some of what you were saying, but also just in general. Grandfather John is 101 years old now. John was at Standing Rock. I met him there twice. I had the honor of sitting with him around the fires. He's another one I really like because he can call me young man, and he's quite accurate. And we would kid around a lot, which is a reminder there always has to be some fun and joy in this. And we hold that as a non-negotiable. So just keep that in your heart as we do this. Otherwise, we fall, and we go to that place Jerry's talking about. It's too easy then to go to the dark places if you don't have a little bit of fun in humanity. And that's actually one of the things that Grandfather talked about at Standing Rock, because we were going through a lot of these discussions then, specifically about that. So Grandfather is pointing out that, first of all, he's like, yes, of course, this is not about hatred. We do need to stop the bleeding, and that's why the mother stands with us. It is if everything that we value on the planet is being attacked at once to be destroyed. If we do our work, if we follow that model you all have talked about, again, and Jerry was kind of talking into it too, the action, prayer, education, and ceremony. If we do that, those who would destroy will just fade away. And then we can start to bring things back, is what he's saying. So, yeah, and I'm totally with that. But even, not again. Sorry, I must have hit some button there. The grandmothers were saying, too, that as we stand for these things now, whatever they are, whether we stand up against ICE here in this country or similar groups elsewhere, whether we stand against the governments who no longer represent us in any way, whether we stand for the animals like I've been doing, it's all the same. How did Grandmother Val put it? If we stand up for one thing, we're standing up for all things. And I think that's part of it. Yeah, it's absolutely part of it. if we bring this together, nothing can stop us because we are the huge majority now. And actually, even with the way we think and act, putting aside, once again, I don't want to go into conservative, liberal, or any of that nonsense. All that's been used to separate us, or what we look like, or our education level. But when we stand together, that number is going up and up and up. Some are never going to do it. Some can't face it. That's okay. We send them love and light and let them go on their journey. It's like Jerry was saying, each has to do what he or she thinks is the way to do it. And I know I learned a long time ago, I can be strong in what I think, and I am. Doesn't mean I'm right. And collectively, I think we have the answer, or answers. And there's a lot of prophecies around that. Maybe some program one day, we'll do a lot of prophecies. The youth choir has asked for that several times too. So yeah, how do we continue? How do we stand up? We're seeing it around the globe. Several governments have been displaced already. The youth corps are talking about the wars. Yeah, the wars are going on. They seem to be spreading. If we stand up peacefully, we can make a difference there. Trust me, I'm old enough, I do know. I did experience that. I did stand up in that place Jerry was talking about. Very young, didn't know any better. I hated back. I threw the bricks at them when they threw the bricks at me. It got us nowhere. Nowhere at all. But when we stood peacefully, when we stood with Dr. King first and then others later, big changes happened. And I know some of those are attempting to roll back. It's okay. There's this pushback because the universe does seek balance and we're out of balance. They can't really push back. That's a fear element that people are carrying. And with that, I will shut up, put the stick in, and anybody who wants it, take. They're typing, but it'll take them a while.
Well, while they're typing, what came to mind is some of the images from Standing Rock and some of the actions. I wasn't there, but some of the things that still to this mind stick in my heart and in my mind to this day are those standing, knowing the water cannons will be brought out, knowing all those things will be turned against them, standing, taking a stand and standing, just standing peacefully. But even peacefully, it was looked at as a threat. But against guns drawn, against the weapons that they had and the water cannons and all the things they brought to bear, that stand was powerful. I guarantee it didn't just speak to me. I guarantee those standing in front of those things, knowing what they were facing and still standing for what was right, stuck in everybody's mind. Another thing that stuck in my mind was when, and Jim, you might remember this if you were there at that time, when there was a whole bunch of things that were brought to help the ones at Standing Rock survive the cold. Matter of fact, there was an overabundance of it. And I believe it was a medicine person that gathered the children to take the surplus of it and to deliver it to the very ones who were opposing them. Because they didn't need it. But they also didn't, they were giving it to them, so they didn't have to, they knew they were cold too. The children, by that, went and gave some of the surplus of that to the very ones who were standing against them. That was powerful. That said more than anything, any thrown rock or any weapon drawn against that opposition. And that to this day, that's one of the most beautiful things that stands out to me when I think of Standing Rock. And see if I give you guys enough time to say what you had to say. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's really good, Jerry. That's great. My artist brother, Shazay, my Dene brother, he's been here for several weeks. We took a friend of mine and myself took him home to Canyon de Chelly, where he'll be for a while and then he'll come back We were talking about this a lot because we were both at Standing Rock. It's actually where we really met and spent some time together. And now it's 10-year anniversary. And you're going to see some things happening in August. Gathering of veterans of Standing Rock, energies of Standing Rock. And veterans could be anywhere in the world. Doesn't mean just those who were there. Some of those things Jerry's talking about, I did experience. Which first? Well, the gathering of things needed for the cold. I was there for that. In fact, I interviewed people who were building the facilities to house those materials, those who were building the kitchens, those who were building spaces where the animals could be kept safely, those who were building an educational place for the young ones. I have those. I will pull those up and I'll put them on my YouTube so people can look at them. And that overage of materials, I remember sitting with the woman who was leading that. I apologize to her if she hears this later because I cannot remember her name. But that's exactly what she was saying, Jerry. What do we do? Look at all, we're all day going through this. There's so much. And you're right. Actually, a couple of elders, a man and a woman, showed up and guided some of the young ones there. And they started distributing that through the res. And then later, some was also sent down to Pine Ridge because there was so much for a while. We had an abundance of things donated at first, including money, to build what we needed. So that was beautiful to watch. Some of the other things, and yeah, these things are still, when I mention Standing Rock, it's people who even were young then say, tell me about the energy. Because that was the big thing, because it did spread globally. And that's the model we can use now. And it did it peacefully. The water cannons. I didn't spend too much time on the lines. My job was mostly to record, document, and then get back to my place where I could get it online, because I was running the virtual part. But I did spend some of the time. And one time standing on the line, next to me, over maybe two people, were two young women, teenagers I would say, late teens, maybe 20 years old at the most. And when the cannons were turned on, they didn't pick me off, but they hit both of them and sent them both flying. And opened up the side of the face of one and opened the arm of the other one. And it was a really difficult not to go into anger, into rage. But we didn't. And they were tended to, we did have some healers there at Standing Rock who could do, some basic stuff. And the next day, both of them, together actually, spoke about, let's not let this divide us. That could have been any of us hit. And we know it when we're out there. We all know it. We all know we're taking a risk. Let's have it, how did they put it? Let's have it bring us together. And actually, that was the first time that some of the police in attendance, came and stood with us. It didn't happen a lot, but it did happen. 2 or 3 of them came and stood in our line. So those things were enormous for me, and I think for everybody who was there. It's something we'll never forget. The other one we'll never forget because it brings in some of our other relatives. You may have seen this, Jerry, or some of you others, was the time that the buffalo came over the ridge. We were standing there and we heard this noise. And I'm going, what the hell is that? And it got louder and louder. And then one of the young ones actually said, oh my God, I think it's the buffalo. And sure enough, a couple minutes later, hundreds of buffalo came charging over this ridge and down the hillside. It looked like a tsunami of buffalo. Nothing but brown backs and woolly backs, and a hell of a lot of energy. Thank goodness no one was standing in the, yeah, no coincidence. It was arranged by Creator that no one was in the way. They swept down, they swept to the river, right where Not Afraid to Look, the statue, was looking from above. They turned, they ran up along the river for a stretch of time. It was only a minute or so, but it seemed like eternal. And then at one point, those in the lead turned again. They turned, and they swept back up and over the hill and gone. The powers against us tried to say that was orchestrated, that was false. I was there. No way. You do not have, oh God, it was hundreds. You don't control that. They just came in, they swept over, they were gone. And some of the young braves jumped on their ponies to follow them. And they said they kept going, and then they split up again into their various components. So those sorts of things, oh wow. To me, that seems to be what I heard this past week. That was the mother working with us. The mother sent those bison. And they were there in a big way. The mother was there when we needed things. There was a time we were running out of clean drinking water. And the police and the National Guard and the Army and everybody they had lined up out there were not letting anything through. And somehow, a battalion of a dozen or so trucks came and managed to get in, and they were bringing water. So again, that was the mother. They don't even know how they did. They didn't even get questioned. I think they were the police and all those were probably dealing with other vehicles, so they kind of snuck by in the meantime. But we got what we needed, and we had water. We had plenty of food, and then that was stockpiled. Yeah, okay. Is that good for now? Okay. Let's see. Okay, Chantel's on here. Mel will be in and out. That's fine, brother. Always happy when you can be here. Oh, do. Yeah, Robbie was mentioning politics. You can't tell where. Yeah, it's happening everywhere. That darkness is in the lead still. And that's what we're breaking up. And we will do it. Okay, so Chantel wrote, since I'm becoming more connected with myself, also with Mother Earth, I've been seeing a lot of changes with the things around me, such as animals like birds and dogs mostly. And this tree grew an eye on it looking right at my back door, which I think is really cool and fascinating. That's exactly the kind of thing. Thank you, Chantel. Exactly the kind of thing that's happening. Definitely is happening. It's happening here. I've had, we always have some coyotes around here. For the last couple of nights, there's been 3 or 4 packs of coyote here at the same time. It's like a chorus. And it goes on for a couple hours. They're talking. They're talking to us. Listen to the animals now. Listen to the trees. As Chantel was saying, it's not only the animals, but the eye looking right at her back door. Pay attention now. The mother is talking clearer than I've ever heard her. And I've walked a while. So listen to her, and we need to do what she says. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chantel. You've become a really active part in this lately, and it is much appreciated. Do we have any hands up?
Don had his hand up and now down.
Don, go ahead, Don, take it. I'm sorry, I'm looking in 5 places at once, so thanks, Valerie. Yep. I wonder if he's there or did he run to the restroom? Hey, Don, are you there?
Maybe that's why he put his hand down.
That could well be. So we'll wait till we'll give him a chance to put it up again later.
I guess I can
I
go.
love.
Um,
Okay, who what today?
okay. Well, I just wanted to say that, like the thing, like what I like, I've noticed that on my tree, and I always go put tobacco down there, like every day, pretty much. And I noticed one night when I was sitting out there, and I was just like, oh my God, the tree is looking at me, and I was just like, that was never there before, and it's on the other side of where I put my tobacco. And I was just so fascinated with it. And then paying attention to the birds. I mean, the birds, I don't know what are like, I've been trying to pay attention to them in the morning when I go sit outside, but they have really been really loud lately. Um, just the regular old birds and mostly the crows. So I don't know, I just still learning. And but yeah, and I went and picked up my first thing of garbage the other day, trying to help Mother Earth stay clean and stuff. But I don't know, I'm just grateful to be here and grateful to listen. Thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome. So from the Youth Corps, and I'll swing back up to you, Jerry. They're asking us to. This is excellent sharing. Thank you all. We'll even pay more attention to the animals up here. Please listen to the land, to the places on the land who need us. That's what we did. That's why we've gone to these different actions. Okay. Sorry, guys, I couldn't read that. That's why we've gone to these different actions. The mother asked us to come. The land wanted us to come. Right now, Jim, speak to Chaco. Okay. So there's places, again, remember, this is global. So when you listen to this and you're somewhere else, apply it to your own situations, wherever you are. Chaco Canyon here is another sacred place, very sacred. Chaco Canyon and Canyon de Chelly to me are two key places. I've been to both many, many times. And I was just at Canyon de Chelly. Chaco Canyon, they are now looking to try to mine once again, right up to the borders and possibly past the borders. So that's the kind of place we can show up peacefully, but just standing, having a presence. And remember the, what's the word I want? The media, not regular media, the corporate media. They're not going to cover any of this. They're not covering most of the weather events happening now. So cover it. When you're at these things, take pictures, take videos, put it up. This is how we communicate now. And not just us, but people who are being marginalized in the corporate structure are coming into the virtual realm and sharing. And that's how we continue to do it to each other, one-on-one, and it spreads, and the groups form. So thank you, Youth Corps. We really appreciate it. And I'm being very careful to say young people. They were kidding me because I messed up the other day when I was talking to them. Jerry, you had your hand up, I think.
First of all, the words of the young, listen to Mother Earth. That's how we know where to go. You brought tears to my eyes, tears of pride for the Youth Council, for the Youth Corps. Because you are the ones we've been waiting for. You are living, walking the path of your ancestors. You are living examples of our ancestors by doing so. The first thing to do, listen to the mother. I guarantee your ancestors are smiling almost as big as my heart is shining, listening to your words. Probably more so. You are walking in the footsteps of your ancestors. You are living the ways that they fought so hard to keep alive. Listen to the mother coming from our youth, our teachers. That is beyond, that's priceless. There are no words to say how full my heart is to hear you speak of these things and to see you do them. So, I might have told the story here before. I'm not going to tell it again, but there's a story about the 7 grandfathers and those gifts they gave. I'll repeat a line out of that story. The second grandfather knew that for a people or a person to ever have true power, they must first have love. So the second grandfather gave them the gift of love. Our warriors, when they went to battle, they didn't go to battle with great deeds in mind. They went to battle to protect those who could not fight for themselves, those who could not battle for themselves and stand for themselves. They went out of love, and they fought out of love, not out of anger. If they had to strike another down to sustain and fight for life, they did so out of love. Talked about those buffalo coming at Standing Rock. I guarantee our ancestors thought the same things when how many million buffaloes were senselessly slaughtered and almost brought to extinction. I guarantee they were thinking that the natural world was in danger of dying too. She's still here. And the buffalo have started to come back. They've started to come back because so many people, not just Native people, have worked out of love to bring them back. And I just want to, if I speak more about it, I'll be crying. Thank you for our youth. Thank you for living and embodying those values of our ancestors and keeping them alive. That's what's going to win this. And why is it getting darker? Have you ever looked up at a night sky when there's a new moon, when there is no moon in the sky? Seen all those brilliant, beautiful stars that you wouldn't see without the darkness. Keep shining, young ones. Keep shining, every one of us. Shining with love for all life. Shining as an example, by taking care of that life and of the mother. Those bright examples will be seen in this darkness. Those bright examples will be the beacon that allows us to find that path, to return back to balance and harmony. Stick in the middle.
Thank you. Yes, in the darkness, as the grandmothers were saying, darkness is pushing back very hard now. Dark people, dark energies, because they know they're up against the wall. That's how I say it. They say it differently. And that is part of it. So remember that. And remember, and as Jerry put it quite well, but to mention it again, don't fight back with their darkness. We cannot use the weapons they're using, or we become them. Then we win nothing. As far as some of the animals, boy, I was taught just in the last week, just in the last few days maybe, and I checked and it's accurate. On the planet Earth, we now have over 8 billion people. The human population and their domesticated animals account for a little over 90% of the living beings on the planet. That doesn't leave a lot of space for those that are wild. But my Lakota teachers always taught me that even those that are gone, they're just beyond the veil. They can come back. They will. And some are. We see whales coming back. We thought were gone. We see wolves showing up where they've been gone. So when the time comes, we'll welcome them in as brothers and sisters again. And we also, I totally agree with Jerry, of course. But Tom wants me to share. I got to try to do this without getting emotional, like you said, Jerry. It's hard. They are thanking us because it's important to remember this is a circle. And so all give what they can. There would be no youth council if it wasn't for you and Jerry and grandmother. I believe that was grandmother Val, and the grandfather from New Zealand and a couple of others. It's because you spoke and they heard that they started it. And so I just say thank you for that. And the point being, yeah, we all give. So the youth corps is amazing. I could not feel stronger about it. I was talking to a large group of African youth just the other day. I was asked to speak to them again. Their numbers are swelling. This is I'll talk about it another time or have a friend on who's part of the lead on that. But this is a group, when I used to speak to them, there'd be maybe 1,000, maybe 1,200, a good group. Now, this time, there was 28,000 of them over Africa. So we're watching these things spread. Let's just keep feeding. Feed the light wolf, right? Robbie, thank you, brother.
I don't know how much is reported on news about our education system and what they're doing to the neurodivergent children, but there's lots of people coming together to back supporting the newer children, keeping their supports going.
Yeah, thank you. And it's important to continue to share all these things because a lot of it's not covered. A lot of it. And I get a lot of people sending me stuff because they know I'm connected to a bunch of different groups. And I see this stuff and I go, that can't be right. And I go and check, and it is. It's just simply not reported. So we're really glad to have you here, Robbie, to bring that voice in. And of course, Chris, when he's here, and anyone else from outside the usual. Oh, here's from Mary on the chat, if anyone didn't see it. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this beautiful way of expressing connection, love, empathy, kindness, and ways of standing up for all people and animals and Mother Earth. I believe I'm taking care of others with love and try to live with connection of all. Your words and love are beautiful expressions of the heart. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, I mean, we all try. Chantel, the earth is overly populated. Yeah, it is, Chantel. And that'll shift too. And yet, once again, those who like to keep it the way it is, to push it back, actually, to 100 years ago, I'm seeing them questioning, why are the population levels gone down? We need more people, more people. Well, that's a control mechanism in itself. So that in itself tells me, okay, we're winning that battle a little bit. I don't know how that's going to play out. 8 billion is extreme. Even science has shown that carrying capacity is actually no more than 2 billion. That's one hell of a difference. And it won't happen quickly, I pray. But over time, we have to balance that out too. We have to be like the rest of the animals. We're the only ones that overpopulate that way. And we'll get there if we just listen to the mother. Hey, Don, it looks like you're back now. You had your hand up before.
Well, maybe Great Spirit put my hand up and I wasn't aware.
Valerie called you out.
Yeah, I just having trouble articulating because, my routine at night is to just go into the consciousness of it all, and all the things that I'm hearing, or the things that I'm hearing or seeing. And somebody said something about the birds, and I just 2 nights ago I was like, wow, those birds are really loud. And it wasn't a few, it was like all the species. Like, what kind of, and so when you said we, right, Mother Earth said we, right, need to do this thing, and I'm thinking, what? And so I deal with anger. My anger comes from grief, because um, I just think of everyone behind me, my grandchildren, my great grandchildren. I have great grandchildren, um, and that's what I care about, and that's what bothers me most. And it's great to see the young people, um, because, like it was said, that's what we've been waiting for, and we're here to help. Right, we're here to share the wisdoms. But all the things that folks are talking about tonight are the things that are coming through for me. And I'm kind of in an island out here in, you know, um, Western Maryland. and and so it's great, to kind of, get pulled in this, originally from the Rocky Mountain country. Um, but my heart gets heavy with it all. And as you said, and I do try and live life every day with fun. I'm probably the zaniest person most people ever meet, because it's been my way of working through this over all the years. Um, I just see that if we all find the words and the language to bring us all together, in a way that just creates that larger and larger collective consciousness, because that's, those things, thoughts are things. Thoughts are way beyond leaving our head. I mean, they ripple through the cosmos. And so I think it was Jerry that was talking about the solar flares, and the things that are going on, and that brought some other things together for me, because I spend a lot of time, in the sciences as well, with physics and electromagnet, just all those energies. Because I've always believed since I was young that it really is the energy. It's the energy we put out, and it is hard when you see this heavy thing that's out there. So I think it's so important to not get sucked into the darkness and the pettiness that we see go back and forth across all these channels that are available to us. We just have to keep pushing the light. Not that I'm not guilty of a crappy post here or there, because it can get to you, right? But I do check my feed every now and again to make sure that it's 99.8% just positivity, open consciousness, whatever it is that's gonna help us all come together. So I'm grateful, for the folks that are here, and for Jim, and being a part of the circle. So stick in the middle. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. And yeah, we all have gifts in different areas. And that's why also the circle's so damn important. And I've spent, over the last week, my friend who went with me to Canyon de Chelly, she's very into sounds and frequencies, and that's out of my realm, so I learned a lot. And then with Standing Bear and Zenka, his friend and partner, I think, and she's with this mathematical jargon, and another friend who is here, Estelle, and they're talking all this mathematical stuff, which goes with me. But I learned a little as I listened, and that, you realize, oh, good. When we need that, we have people who can stand up in that. We need my part, I'm happy to stand up, and then let me sit down and let the next person stand. Thanks, Don. That's a good reminder. Valerie.
I have so many thoughts. I'm going to try to pull them together here. But first of all, kudos to everybody that's here, because you're taking that risk, and not that it's a huge one, but it makes a difference. Just your mere presence. And that's what we need to do. We need to step out of our comfort zone just a little bit and put ourselves into the community. And that takes courage, but it's exactly what we need to do right in this time. And I think about how well Jim is modeled that tonight, because he could have kept the dream to himself, or he could have like just talked in his own little private circles and shared it there. Definitely safer that way, but this is recorded and shared, probably with hundreds, and he's courageous and he's modeling for us what we need to do. We need to listen for the mother. We need to share what we're hearing. And yeah, it's a little bit of risk taking, but that's what we need to do in this time, because each of us hold a little piece of the puzzle. And together we can weave something beautiful, but alone we cannot, especially in this time. So I think that was my first thought. The second thought is about the energies that Don was talking about, and of course, Melissa, that's your life, But those energies, of those words that you said that Mother Earth shared, which is it's time to reclaim or take back. And I started thinking, I've been thinking on that. And I wondered, how much do I say she's my earth? She's my mother. You know what I'm saying? We need to start claiming her. She's our earth, because we need to say it out loud, because that's a frequency. And what's happening is the opposing side is claiming her as a resource, as a thing. Okay? We need to counter that. We need to counter it in a good way with good energies, in love, saying that she's our mother, you know, and say it out loud, because that in itself is a frequency. Okay, that's what I've got for right now. Thank you all. Talking stick in the middle.
That's great. Thanks, Valerie. It's yeah, for me, I think it's mostly stubborn. But when these things came, you're right, and I seriously sat and said, "Do I want to do this again?" Because things do come. But what came to me was, as I did that, connected with my ancestors. We have some people who are being courageous, who are in the broader public eye. Don Lemon, some of the talk show hosts. 60 Minutes has been torn apart, and that person. We have people like that. We need a lot of people like us, just people, who are doing and speaking the same way. That means a lot, I think. We're talking people to people. Nothing special, just human beings who wake up in the morning, pull in our pants and go about our business. Those who are in the spotlight, that's awesome, and I totally respect them. But it's everybody, all the same. And yeah, I am the mother, and the mother is me. It's definitely. It's how I've always walked. I don't know any other way, and it really feeds my heart to see so many people doing that now. And Melissa, before I shift it to you, here's something now for... Okay, so we have 2 requests before this is over. If Melissa will pull a Jamie Sam's card for the group, and if Grandfather Jerry has a story that he thinks feeds this discussion. So those 2 things are out there. And I was going to turn it to Melissa, but she ran away. Oh, here she is.
had to run and get my bag. So, Valerie, to your comments, I don't know if I shared this here or I shared this in another circle, but I kept hearing, I'm like, how do we do this? How do we bring spirituality / ceremony back into schools, right? Because that's what we're missing. It's not about religion at all. It's about frequency. It's about code. So what I kept hearing was one nation under mother. And that is how we bring it nationwide, in each and every child, at each and every desk. You don't have to worry about God. You don't have to worry about that term that's so stigmatized. But everybody has a mother. So that's my proposal. That's what I see. That's when I get my place at the White House. Maybe come on, Mel, work your magic. We got some connections here, right? One nation under mother, I think, is what needs to be. I think it's really important. I think that, she's been speaking to me. I think when you're disinherited from your own mother, as I was, and it's just for the powers that be. I have a better relationship with my mother now. She passed on my birthday, my 48th birthday, 2/24/24, 48. And so losing my mother and being estranged from my mother at the time of her passing and her crossing was just something else. So I think that I could speak from that as someone who grew up wondering if my mother was alive or dead each and every day, struggling with the pangs of addiction, and when you know that I had the love of my grandmother, and she taught me, you know how she taught me? In the garden, in the mother, in the mud, in the dirt, in the strawberry patch. So I wanted to pull a botanical inspirations card first, because these are the flower, and I believe it's important.
And then too, Melissa, we can work it in because Robbie also pulled Jamie Sam's.
Oh, good. I have the book if you want to. Robbie, you pulled it, so I'll read it. How about that? We work together, brother. Today I was texting somebody, and your name just appeared on my text. I'm like, ooh, Robbie! Yes, we're going to see Robbie tonight. My brother from and Bodie. Oh, and listen, we need to have a special shout out. In 2 days, Bodie will be 10. His birthday is June 11th. Happy birthday, Bodie. He's going to get a big fat steak. All right. He always joins. He knows when we're talking. See, he wanted to say hi to you, Robbie. He heard me say, Robbie. Yes, he did. Mwah. Okay. Yes. Oh. 2 came out. Hibiscus. And I love the hibiscus. Oh, they mean so much to me in my garden. Oh my goodness. My grandmother comes to me in ladybugs. That's how, like, when I first started really connecting with spirit, after she crossed, ladybugs appeared everywhere. And I had these hibiscus plants in my first apartment, and there were 10 ladybugs all over the hibiscus. Are you so excited, Bodie? I know. All right, so hibiscus's message is this: beauty and happiness. Oh, hold on. I know, Bodie. I gotta switch glasses. Take off the blue light, put on the readings. Okay. Bear with me, everybody. Okay. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. The hibiscus is known as the queen of the tropical islands. Giving a woman a hibiscus is considered a flattering way to acknowledge her beauty. If a woman wears a flower behind her left ear, that means she's looking for love. If she wears it behind her right ear, it means she's spoken for. In the Victorian language of flowers, the hibiscus means delicate beauty. Today is an outward expression of joy. Celebrate the beauty within you and all around you. You will attract happiness into your life when your message to the universe is clear. Seek joy. So important. Today I was on another meeting, because that's what I do. I go on Zoom meetings every day, all day, every day. No, in between seeing clients. I'm joking. But I do a lot of them, as many of us do. We're hard at work here. You know, when you find your soul family, even though they're like halfway across the world and across the country, and you feel like you're sitting in the living room with them, that's what Circle's about. So we've adapted and we've evolved. And we feel like we know each other for, I said it the other day, like we've all, like, you're all in my kindergarten class. So thank you. And what more to do than to laugh? We have to laugh. We have to laugh at ourselves. Gerber Daisy, purity, cheerfulness, and innocence. Yes. I love this. So this is by Thich Nhat Hanh, who also attended the same seminary I'm attending, Union, at Columbia. The present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. See, the mother is really coming through. Joy, joy, joy. And if I had the picture, there is a saint, and it's from India, the country India, called Sri Anandamayi Ma. And her name means joy permeated mother. And I got some stories I'll tell you about her, but she appeared to me many years ago. And then I found out that my teacher, who just passed away, Diane Zimmerhoff, who created the hypnotherapy that I train in, she had an experience with her in the 70s in India. She was pulled into her ashram off the street. So it was pretty interesting. So the joy permeated mother, that is one of the mothers, you know, and so many of the different philosophies, if you want to call them. I won't even call it religion. There's so many different philosophies, and they all lead to the mother. I love Merlin Stone, When God Was a Woman. That's a really good book if you haven't picked that one up yet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I forgot my, okay, here we go. European ministers first discovered Gerber daisies in South Africa. Shout out to Dave Matthews. In 1884, when botanists, yes, shout out to Dave Matthews. What did you say before about Standing Rock? All right, we need him to come and work with our circle next. We're calling him out. When botanists started breeding programs during the 19th century, Gerber daisies became one of the most cherished flowers in the world because of the rainbow of vibrant color variations that became available. Egyptians felt the Gerber held the meaning of closeness to nature and devotion to the sun. The Celts believed Gerber daisies had the power to remove sorrow and stress. Gerber daisies of all colors, especially yellow and pink, emanate light-heartedness and happiness. The white daisy holds the special meaning of purity and innocent joy of childhood. And I had a cat named Daisy. So the child finds innocent pleasure in picking a daisy and discovers joy when she gives the flower to someone special. When you spread joy around, you will find that you have more than you started with. All right, Robbie, what's that card? Did you put it in the chat?
29, Badger.
So as you dig into reading that one, Badger I know pretty well. Badgers can be very fierce. You never want to corner a badger. I had one when I lived out in the woods at one point who got into my garage, and I just wanted to move him out, and that son of a gun came at my throat. All teeth and claws. So they are fierce fighters, but they're also about healing. And then the main teaching of Badger, it is one of the most connected to the earth, to the mother creatures on the planet. No coincidence. Go ahead, Melissa. Sorry.
All right. No, I love it. I love it. So the badger. So would you say the badger is the one closest to the mother in all of these animals in this book, you think?
It's certainly one of the ones very close to the mother. Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. So badger is vicious and attacks with powerful aggression. Oh, let me read the poem. Badger, 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 until you reach your goal, know the inner power that lives in your soul. So that just feels like perseverance. Aggressiveness. Badger is vicious and attacks with powerful aggression. Badger is quick to anger and quicker to pounce. The power of badger medicine is aggressiveness and the willingness to fight for what it wants. The very thought of facing badger makes other animals run for cover. Like skunk, badger's reputation precedes it. Its hissing fangs will tear less aggressive opponents to shreds. Badger is the medicine of many powerful medicine women, for badger is also the keeper of the medicine roots. Badger sees all the roots of Mother Earth's healing herbs hanging in the burrow home. These roots are a key to aggressive healing. Roots can ground negative energy into the earth by allowing illness to pass through a body into the ground as neutral energy. Badger medicine people are quick to act in a crisis, and they do not panic. If badger is a part of your medicine, you're quick to express your feelings, and you do not care what the consequences are. Badger people oftentimes insist on carrying the ball for the touchdown. This attitude, however, does not endear them to their teammates. Badger medicine may also point to the aggressive healer who will have the courage to use unconventional means to exact a cure. Like the mother who sits for days nursing a child with a high fever, badger is willing to persist. Badger people can be vicious gossips or may exhibit a chip on the shoulder syndrome if they are out of balance. You can be sure with people with badger medicine will be aggressive enough to make it to the top of their chosen field because they do not give up. They're also the finest healers because they will use any and all methods to ensure healing and will not give up on the critically ill. A badger person is often the boss and the one that everyone fears. The same boss will surely keep any company afloat. Badger gets the job accomplished. Badger's certainty is a source of strength. If badger pushed its way into your cards today, maybe telling you that you have been too meek in trying to reach some goal. Badger asks you how long you're willing to sit and wait for the world to deliver your silver spoon. In the meantime, the key is to become aggressive enough to do something about your present state of affairs. Badger is teaching you to get angry in a creative way and say, I won't take it anymore. I'm sorry, but I'm just hearing Twisted Sister. We're not gonna take it. And remember a couple of weeks ago, I told you that funny story about Gene Wilder being at the Arboretum. Well, what I didn't share with you was that he was in there with Dee Snider, walking into a greenhouse in Connecticut. You don't think you're gonna bump into Gene Wilder and Dee Snider, but we're not gonna take it anymore. So we're bringing in Dee Snider energy right here. Can you see those big white curls? You must follow up by keeping your eye on the goal. Now I'm seeing Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Honor the healing process as you express those inner feelings. Be aggressive, but don't cut others to ribbons on the way. That's too much aggression. Use your anger to stop your lolling around so that your doldrums of apathy are a thing of the past. Oh, I think we're calling you out, Donald. You just talked about your grief presenting as anger, right? This is the medicine. Badger is a powerful medicine when properly used for self-improvement. Remember that badger may be signaling a time when you can use your healing abilities to push ahead in life. Heal yourself by aggressively removing the barriers that don't grow corn. Cut away the dead wood and use badger's aggression to seek new levels of expression. Use badger's medicine roots to keep grounded and centered in the process. That was a really powerful one, I believe, tonight. It was, another thing.
Yep.
Don't be complacent. Complacency. I kept hearing that all week about not being complacent. And what does that look like? So many of us may be fearful, and I will say that I can share that, as a social worker, worrying about my license and not getting in too much trouble sometimes, but you have that youthful, you just have to know and just surrender and trust and know that you have the will, and we've all done this before. So thank you for that, Robbie. Thank you for your contribution. It's so valuable.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That was a nice partnership doing that. Turn it to Jerry in a moment. Here's a little humorous one from our youth course, and I've heard this from others lately as well. I told a story in another group. There was a time when I was teaching, and we were doing this presentation, the group of students that I was leading in the auditorium, and I told them to pick the music. And there was some things going on then, some back and forth stuff with the administration. And what they picked was Pink Floyd, The Wall. So we're sitting in there, we don't need no. But their point was, we don't need no education in the way it's been done. We need what they're talking about is the education we need from the mother. So we have other groups doing that now, and including our group when they were up there around the Beagles. They were playing it there as well. I didn't know that. That's a new piece of information. So if you don't know that one, go find Pink Floyd, The Wall. Jerry.
I like that. But yeah, talked about anger. I'm standing up. Hopefully you can see this. You know what really burns my butt? A brush fire about that high. Anyways, you get the story was asked for. So, and this is one I've told several times here. So, well, maybe it's time for a repeat season. So, there came a day when Creator looked down upon the earth to see how his children were doing. As Creator watched, what was seen was that made Creator's heart heavy. The human beings had lost their way. They were no longer living and following the original instructions, living in peace and harmony with all life. With a heavy heart, Creator went to the guardians of the directions and told them that he saw no choice. Human beings had lost their way. Things were in great despair and great disbalance. He would have no choice but to cleanse the earth and begin again. Eagle spoke up. Said, "You give me the responsibility of being the guardian of this world and your sacred messenger. Give me a chance to find some still living according to your ways. If I can find some, even if it's just one, spare them. Give them time to return back to the ways of harmony and balance." Creator didn't wish to destroy his children. So he told Eagle, "I'll give you 4 days. But if at the end of those 4 days, you can't find even one still living according to my ways, I'll have no choice but to cleanse the earth and begin again." So on that first day, Eagle appeared with the sunrise, as always, bringing in the new day. On that first day, he flew in the direction of the east. As he looked down with his far-seeing eyes, he saw ceremony sites sitting unused, falling apart due to neglect, lack of care. There were no sacred fires lit. There were no ceremonies. The drums were silent. There were no songs. This is all he saw. And as still happens today, the day passed. The sun had reached its nightly home in the west and began to set. As it set, Eagle returned to the spirit world with 3 days left. That next day, Eagle appeared once again, bringing in the new day. This day, Eagle flew in the direction of the south. As Eagle flew and looked down, saw people, and he heard them. He saw them, looked into their hearts, saw them filled with envy, greed, jealousy. And he heard those speaking, "Come, listen to me, follow me, for my way is the only way." Filled only with themselves, filled only with ego, greed, hatred, jealousy. Eagle noticed once again the day had passed. This is all he saw on that day. As he returned, as the sun set and he returned to the spirit world, he knew he had only 2 days left. On that third day, as Eagle appeared with the sunrise, off in the direction of the west, he saw thick lines of black smoke on the horizon, drifting up. Flying in that direction, his mighty wings, his far-seeing eyes, he saw that this was not, of course, not the ceremony fires of sacred fires, ceremonial prayers being sent up. This was the smoke of war. Eagle looked down. He saw brother fighting brother, father fighting son. So much death, so much hatred, so much destruction. That's all he saw on this day. And once again, the day had passed. Eagle returned to the spirit world with only 1 day left. On that last day, Eagle flew in the direction of the north. As he looked down and flew, he saw all that he had seen the previous 3 days. Ceremony fires, unlit. Ceremony sites, falling apart due to neglect and lack of care. Heard no songs being sung. No prayers being sent up. No prayer smoke. No tobacco being put down. And he saw the wars and the refugees from the wars fleeing in this direction. All that seemed to be left were the children. No one left to guide them. And he noticed that the sun had begun its journey to the west. The day was coming to an end. Daring to hope, Eagle flew one more circle about the earth. Just as grandfather's sun touched that western horizon and began to set. Off in the distance, Eagle saw a small, thin little gray line of smoke drifting up, far off on the horizon. Once again, daring to hope, Eagle flew in that direction, as hard and as fast as he could fly. And with his far-seeing eyes, when he looked down, he saw a young boy. That young boy held a chanupa, a sacred pipe, in his hands. Holding that pipe up, tears streaming down his cheeks. The young boy was asking for strength, asking for wisdom, asking for guidance and help, not for himself, but so that his people and all the children of the earth could continue to live. Eagle swooped down, gathered up those prayers in that prayer smoke. As the sun set, Eagle returned to the spirit world. He had found his one person. This is the story of how the eagle and one small boy saved mankind. Like I said, I've told this story many times here. And as Creator has sent me all over this turtle's back, I've told that story many times within the last 4 years, just to give a number. But even more than that. Because all the elements in the story are alive and well, unfortunately, in these times today. But we must remember that young boy. With his simple, heartfelt prayers, he had no idea, and his actions, he had no idea the far-reaching impact of those prayers and of that heartfelt action of love, praying for all life. It was many, many years later when Eagle told this history to the first human being. That young boy and his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren were long since gone from the earth. He had no idea of the simple, powerful impact of his simple, heartfelt prayers and actions. I tell the story again today because each of us must remember that one young boy. Each of us can be like that young boy. It all depends on what we decide each morning when that sun rises. Thank you. And that's the story, but I wanted to share something. Coming tonight, before I came, I had to come. I knew what the topic was going to be. And I had to come, I told myself, because it could all go so wrong if too many people decided that taking action meant rising up with anger, with hatred, to stand up and fight. It could all go so wrong if that's what we decided. I got here late, and all I heard was the exact opposite from every one of you. That makes this heart fill with joy and brings tears to my eyes of gratitude for you all living these ways. Stick in the middle.
Thank you, brother. And it's important, it's important that we are standing up and fighting, but there's many ways to stand up and fight. And if we do it with our heart and with love, what's the saying? And it's so true. A small number of people taking action can change the world. And we've seen it again and again. And now we're doing it here, now. And I knew that, Jerry. And I knew when you reached out this afternoon, we were having that chat because you were, in part, gauging where my heart was. Because I've been through a lot of these things. You're absolutely right. if we don't do this with love and understanding and empathy, again, we lose. I don't care if we win or not. So we just keep standing. I did want to mention too, there's just so much. First of all, as always, we thank everybody for participating. And tonight, everybody big time is participating. There's a lot of things being posted in the chat that we didn't get a chance to read them all. There's so many. So if you want to, as we do this, read through some of those. There's some wonderful pieces there, and thank you for those. Pardon me, putting those up there as well. And I told Tom I will copy those because I have that copy thing going on, and I will send them what's in the chat so they get the chance to see it too. That's a beautiful story, and I've heard that story, Jerry, several times from you. That was the most moving, heartfelt version of it you've ever shared that I've heard. And that's because we need it now. We need these things at levels we've never done before. I know, I'm talking for myself, but others have said the same. So let's just keep doing it. Hey, Mel, you had your hand up. I see it's down. Did you want it up, down, or sideways? Mr. Badger.
You know, my brother Jerry, thank you. That was most appreciated. Sure. The badger was the first thing ever gifted to me when I became a peace chief, and it was by a Cree elder, and I worked with him in restoring stems for one of Sitting Bull's pipes, and he's greatly missed. But synchronicities, I've been in and out because I'm getting ready to go to Atlanta and speak at two different programs there somehow or another. But the synchronicities are what we're talking about tonight, and the children. And when they asked me to speak, I said, what do you want me to talk about? Because this was an unusual place that I'm going to. And they said, we want you to talk about NDE, energy medicine, and starseed. And I said, I need to think about this. That's quite a mix. And you know, Jerry and all, everybody's talking tonight about the synchronicities. And I keep sitting back and reflecting and having to step away. Publishers have got deadlines and stuff, and I don't have time for that. There's too much other needs that's going on, like those out at the res was asking, what do we do? How do we do? And so as I was sitting out in the yard and thinking about it, I come to the realization, and I've studied NDE and worked with one of the most famous in the world, is that it has created a heightened sense of awareness, a spiritual awakening. And we're all in a time of change. And energy is ever present. I'm learning more about that in our programs, talking about plants and the energy and how everything is transferred, and the trees and the roots and how all of it comes together. And realizing through prophecies and from various groups, here we are, the baby boomers. We've kicked into a time, and I believe we were chosen to be here, with a heightened sense of spiritual awakening. And here we're dealing with Gen Z, millennials, also known as the crystal, the indigo children, and of course in Native prophecies and other First Nation prophecies is the rainbow children. And all of these are at a heightened sense of awareness in their spirituality. And this all weaves together because we're at a precipice now of this earth, like the Hopi prophecy. We're at that point. Either we choose the path or we're in trouble. And Jim, what you're doing here, and Val and Jerry, is bringing this together, that it gives them sight. It lets them know that they are on the right path. In every little movement that we make is positive change, and that energy will continue to ripple, regardless of governments, economies, religions. We have to be true to one thing: Mother Earth. We haven't got anywhere else, and I'm not ready to go try Mars. So it is time that we come together in stewardship. And like you was talking earlier about the water and all, whether there's money or not, it's us helping one another. I had some friends over yesterday, and I'm proud of my cucumbers. I got monsters and tomatoes, and I've given away. I put some in the fridge every day, so I thank Jesus I'm eating well, as they say down south. But we have to be stewards, and we have to hold each other up and work together. So the commonalities, the synchronicities, and having meet people of other religions, and see how there's disagreements in them, but there is that common bond. Mother Earth. They're not making any more land. It's not getting any healthier. And corporations are failing, and they're falling by the wayside. And as they do, this is a time for First Nations and Native people to rebuild and build a better system. I support everybody being able to be successful in their life and be rewarded, but you know better than where you came from. And with that, our decisions should be made from heart. When we make decisions from heart, then we know we're in balance. And I've ran my mouth enough. Guys, I really enjoyed tonight. Like I said, I'm up and down trying to pack and got to leave out in the morning. But thank you. Those words are well spent. And knowing what I was going to talk about in the star seeds, and how we, and I'm going to get into that, how we weave together into things and commonalities, from breath to qigong to sound healing. All of those things I'll be weaving into my talk this weekend. And it's all about creating an awakening within the baby boomer crowd, so that they can help their children and their grandchildren in the next 7 to come. Thank you. Y'all be blessed.
Thanks, Mel. Beautiful. Everybody also, I just got a request. Send some prayers towards Chaco Canyon when you get a chance. Apparently they're trying to revoke the 20-year moratorium that Biden put on it 4 or 5 years ago. So send prayers to Chaco. I'm going to probably get there in the next week, hopefully with an air conditioner in my car, but either way, I need to get there. Ooh, boy. Let's see. Melissa had her hand up. Okay, does anyone else need to say anything before I give it to Melissa, or afterwards? Jerry, are you complete? Good. And again, thank you everybody in all the messages on there. Wow, this is really amazing. Nicholas had to leave. He's lighting a fire for another ceremony. So that's a beautiful thing. We're with him in spirit as well. So what I'm feeling, Melissa, is turn it to you. And we're up against, so you be the last one speaking, but then if she's willing, my sense is we ask Chantel to close this out, because we've done this all around the mother. And so to have a woman start it and then the same woman close the circle just feels right. All right, no one's throwing anything at me, so I guess that works. Melissa.
That feels right. So I've been toying with this idea for a while, so I wanted to try it out here and speak this. Let me know your thoughts. I pledge allegiance to the earth and to the sacred web of life, of which we are all a part. One family, under Mother, walking the path of truth, honesty, humility, wisdom, courage, respect, and love. May we remember the original instructions, honor the ancestors, care for the children, protect the waters, tend the soil, and live in right relationship with all our relations, indivisible, through gratitude and interdependence, with peace, dignity, and justice for all beings.
Who was that? Somebody sat on attack? What? Oh, sorry. Thanks, Melissa. That was beautiful. So before we ask Chantel to close us, anyone else that has to put anything in? Robbie, do we need anything from your part of the world, or are we complete over there?
I have noticed people coming together more over here looking, particularly protecting the neurodivergent children who are being attacked very much by the government and being taking their support away. So I have seen a few positive changes.
That's great. And in the prayer part of the foursome, let's remember everybody in our circle here. Robbie's having some challenges with his living conditions over there. Others are. Let's remember each other in our prayers, and then spread it out beyond that. Spread it to the circles that each one of us walk in as well. And that's a big takeaway for tonight for me. Remember the four things. Just use them how it feels right. Action, prayer, education, ceremony. I'm telling you, if you mix them up, I guarantee you that the sum of that four is a lot more than four. So with that, Chantel, if you're willing, would you close us out?
Sure. I am honored. I just wanted to say that I have the same prayer as I open, as I close, as I'm still learning my language. But I am honored. Um, Gigawabaman, Anin, Maniduda, Minowa, Nidibe Madizi, Manominokwe, Nidis because Jaganashima Chantel, Owazase, Nidu Dame Obashi, Nidunjaba. Gichi manidu minawa, ingiu manidu, wabanang, javanang, ningabi nang minawa, giwedi nang manidu, oma aking, mama aking minawa, dede gishik, manidug, ishpamin minawa, manidu, nebakang, daga, oda penik wa au asema, jawenim, gawenim, ganawenim, widakau, minawa, jawenim, mishinam, najib bimatisi, Widaka Wishin, G Mino Ganawaba Magwa, G Mino Ganunagwa, Minowa, Mino Dudawagwa, Niji Bimadizi, G Nanda Gatain Damin, Ojibwemoin Minowa, Anishinaabe Ishitwawin, Chimigwich, Gichi Manidu, Chimigwich Manidu, Ga Ganawe Naminagwa, Chimigwich Nungam Ga Gijigak, Chimigwich Ga Mijiyang Minowa Mino Bimajisiwin, Chimigwich Ga Kena Jago Ijichigayik, Chimigwich Ga Kena Jago Ga Ojatuye, Daga Ja Jana Ja Wayne Mishinam, Ya Wayang Niki Bimajisi, Ningi Mino Minajidawin, Nin Wayne Minajidawin, Gija Wayne. And I also just wanted to say I put prayers up for those that are in this circle with us and those that aren't. You know, we come together tonight for helping each other, help us help the earth, and as well as all the living creatures on the earth. But that's it for my prayer. Thank you. Um, thank
Thank you, Chantel. Beautiful. This coming Sunday, too, I meant to mention, I was asked to, here at my place, some of us are coming together. We're going to build a larger sweat lodge because we get a lot of people now who are asking. So we'll be starting early in the morning. Actually, Standing Bear will lead the gathering of the willows, and then we'll build it, and then we'll hopefully have a lodge. There's been a fire issue. You're all welcome to join energetically any of those pieces you want. We'll hold space for you for sure. Thanks, everybody. This was awesome. I'll get it up as soon as I can. Let's spread it out there. Those who hear this later, if it hits your heart, if it gives you the kind of positive sense it's giving me, repost it. Let's share this. Let's keep doing it. And everybody, speak your truth. Much love to you all.